Welcome, guardians of tangled hearts and witnesses to the tenderness and storms of fame, to a new and trembling chapter on Whispers of Turkish Stars. What I'm about to unfold feels like a scene rescued from a tear-soaked screenplay, and yet it's happening in front of our eyes, without retakes, without rehearsals, with the city of Istanbul as a silent accomplice. Our spotlight turns to two names that once made fans believe in forever, Gökberk Yildirim and Samra Arda. Not for a comeback, not for a dazzling project, but for a choice that split the fandom in two and stirred wounds many thought had already healed. A diary. Pages covered in ink and breath. An auction that threatens to lay bare the private echoes of a once unbreakable vow. Before we dive into this tide of secrets and shaky heartbeat confessions, join our family here at Whispers of Turkish Stars. Subscribe, ring that bell so you never miss our late-night revelations, and show some love if you want us to keep pulling the curtain back on the stories nobody else dares to tell. And yes, for those who want to stand even closer to our investigations, the join button is ready and waiting. Let's step together into the room where a memento of love now carries a price tag. It began quietly, the way earthquakes do before the ground remembers how to roar. A famed auction house posted an announcement that turned the industry upside down. No tiaras, no gowns immortalized on a crimson carpet, no sleek machines purring promises. No, the object marked for sale was softer, more fragile, and incomparably more dangerous. A handwritten diary, the intimate possession of Samra Arda, the luminous actress whose smile once seemed sculpted from summer itself. Not just any old notebook, according to the detailed notes that accompanied the listing, but the very pages where she had tucked letters, poems, private thoughts, and confessions penned only for Gökberk Yildirim, all written when their love was a blazing comet streaking across the night. The listing spread through the entertainment world like wind over dry grass. Fans stared at their screens in disbelief. How could Cemre part with something so personal, so sacred that even the word keepsake felt too small? We are talking about a chronicle of two souls beating in harmony, a map of promises traced with moonlight whispers and fingertips that counted stars instead of time. Our inbox filled with a single, echoing question: why? What could move someone to offer pieces of their heart to the highest bidder, to let strangers handle the weight of memories that once slept under a locked pillow? Insiders close to the actress insist this is not about money. They say it's a ceremony of release, a decisive closing of a chapter that, while beautiful, no longer shelters her the way it once did. And then came her brief doorstep statement, caught by mics as she was leaving a restaurant near the Bosphorus, delicate but unshakable. With a calm face and eyes you could mistake for steel, Samra said she had kept those pages as a refuge and a witness, but that she wouldn't carry them any longer. The time had arrived, she explained, to transform that energy into something new. Words few and careful, but enough to bow the branches of every tree lining the street. The notion set the fandom on fire. Could pain be turned into grace? Could private love become public healing? Rumors emerged that the proceeds would go to charity, that this farewell might ripple outward into acts of kindness, that the value of a secret could morph into the value of a warm meal, a new book, a roof for someone whose roof was taken by storms. A noble rumor, noble enough to soothe, but not gentle enough to make the choice less piercing. In a recent snippet of an interview, captured almost in passing, Samra added a thought that roared through social media. To mend, sometimes, you must unhand the very thing you once clutched like a lifeline, that not everything you wrote belongs to you forever. A philosophy braided with serenity and ache, a reminder that love, the genuine, the raw, is as ephemeral as a sunset, but no less real for vanishing into twilight. But every story has a second pair of eyes, and on the other side of this one is the man whose name lives between the lines. Our sources say that Gawkberg learned about the auction like anyone else. Through a push notification that hit in the middle of an ordinary moment. Try to imagine the jolt, discovering that your most tender history, the words once whispered while the city slept, may soon be shuffled by strangers in white gloves. We're told he immediately tried to reach her. Messages. Calls. A string of searching questions that travel through the night and drown in silence, which sometimes wounds more than the sharpest sentence. A friend who saw him on set swears his hands shook as he stared at his phone and asked a question that cracked the wall between past and present. How could their memories be put up for sale? How can a book that holds the poetry of a two-person universe be read by anyone who simply brings enough money to the table? He was heard saying, voice thin with disbelief, that within that leather cover lived secrets only meant for two, promises breathed under silver skies, truths created in the fragile minutes before dawn. And like that, a private grief became a public tremor. Tension swelled, soundless but heavy. For Gawkberg, this wasn't an auction, this was a dismantling of a shrine, an intrusion into a sacred place where only two pairs of footsteps had permission to echo. We've learned he sent one final message that said, in essence, don't sell our story, meet me, let's hold the pages together before letting them go. We've also learned no reply arrived. The screen glowed. The screen dimmed. And the clock kept finding new ways to be cruel. Here at Whispers of Turkish Stars, the question gnaws at us too. Where does ownership begin and end when words were born for two and written by one? Does the diary live with the hand that wrote it, or with the heart that inspired it, or does it belong to the moments that existed beyond both? We want to hear you, every single one of you. What would you do standing in Gawkberg's shoes? Would you fight for the right to keep it sealed? Would you beg for the matches that could turn it into smoke and ash? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you feel the weight of the work we do. Staying up late, hunting down whispers, carefully threading each rumor into something that tells a truth, consider supporting the channel with a super thanks or by becoming a member through Join. Your presence keeps this lantern lit. As for the calendar, it refuses to pause. The date of the auction inches closer with a heartbeat's patience, and in collectors' circles the interest is electric. The letters on those pages, they say, might sketch the first instant Samra recognized that Gawkberg wasn't just another face at a busy table, but the quiet in a loud room. They whisper of shadows too, fears that blocked the light, jealousies that clawed at sleep, and the elusive, whispered reason their love found a cliff it could not climb. If those revelations step into the light, they may never return to the dark. And now, the rumor that folds everything into a sharper knot. Gawkberg will not step aside to let the gavel fall. Not this time. The murmur blooming through the corridors of showbiz is that he plans to stand in that room invisible, bidding with a number instead of a name. Picture it, a man ready to spend a small fortune not to own a trophy, but to defend a memory, to keep gentle words from being read with cold eyes. A gesture both wild and tender, the kind heroes make when the scene is almost over and the music has begun to rise. So, how much does a memory cost? Television hosts are tossing the question around like it's a coin that could fall either way. Emotionally, it's incalculable. Economically, it may be staggering. The fandom has split into two loud constellations. One side stands beside Cemre, calling her brave, claiming the right to decide how to close her door, how to make peace with a chapter that gave her the world and then took it away. The other side, equally passionate, says that some relics should never be offered to anyone with cash in their pockets, that love's artifacts must be locked away or destroyed rather than paraded as curiosities, even for charity, even for a cause wrapped in goodness. For fans who were still saving a corner of their heart for a reconciliation, this feels like the last petal falling from a flower they watered with patience. But for the dreamers, those who believe chaos can be a bridge instead of a wall, this spectacle could become the very spark that forces both of them to look back, to admit that caring didn't die so much as go quiet. Samra shows the world a face that suggests resolution, but we all know how masks work. It cannot be easy to let go of a diary that has listened to you sob, that has watched you smile at secrets, that learned your breathing well enough to warn you when you were holding it. Parting from such a book is like ripping a ribbon tied around the heart, one thread at a time, without scissors, without mercy. The city is holding its breath. Will Gawkberg appear in the auction room, just another anonymous paddle in the crowd? Will the diary climb to an impossible price? What will the first reader glean from the neat curves of Cemre's handwriting if the pages do escape the circle of two? There's a cruelty in imagining strangers feasting on the softness of someone else's honesty. There's also a kind of strange beauty in knowing that honest words refuse to vanish, even when their owners disappear from each other's lives. And so we wait. We stand with you in this waiting, counting down the hours and pretending we aren't. Fame is a candy wrapper, glossy and bright, but inside are people who ache and forgive and stumble just like the rest of us, who make choices at midnight and hope the morning will understand. A book made of leather and paper, threads and ink, has become the fulcrum of a struggle that questions who we are when the applause fades. The auction goes live next weekend, and Whispers of Turkish Stars will be watching with our hearts in our mouths, bringing you every glance that lasts a second too long, every breath taken as the numbers rise, every vibration on a phone that might say wait or go or remember. We'll be there, because we know you will be too, leaning forward, torn between wanting the pages to be saved and wanting them to burn, between protecting the private and demanding the truth. May the ending, whatever shape it chooses, gift both of them a kind of peace that doesn't ask questions. Maybe they will find that peace together, maybe separately, maybe not for a while. But the diary, no matter where it lands, will remain the quiet witness to what once was, to the nights when love wore their names and fit them perfectly. When this is over, we'll be here, the lantern still lit, ready to tell you the next chapter in a voice that remembers the one before it. Don't forget to subscribe, switch on notifications, and join our circle here at Whispers of Turkish Stars so you don't miss the heartbeat of this story as it climbs and breaks and climbs again. Thank you for trusting us with your evenings, with your curiosity, with your hope. We will see you after the gavel falls, with truths gathered carefully and rumors sifted for their quiet grains of honesty. Until then, hold your breath with us, and keep listening for the whisper that says love may fade, but it never lies about having been here. And if the night feels too long between now and the auction, do what we're doing, replay the old memories, not because they belong to us, but because they show us the fragile beauty of two people trying. Picture the winter coat they shared on a windy set, the drink they left half-finished at a hidden cafe, the glance that said more than words could hold. Hear the notes of a song they once claimed as theirs, and imagine the diary's pages turning, one by one, careful as prayer. Perhaps that's what this is, a prayer with ink for beads, for courage on one side and compassion on the other. Perhaps that's all anyone can ask for at the end of a love that was once a country they both lived in, before borders and passports and customs. If you listen closely, you can already hear the room where the auction will happen. A hush like velvet. A single cough. A gavel sleeping in a gloved hand. Someone will look up at the chandelier and imagine stars. Someone will check their number card twice and wonder if they have the nerve. Somewhere, not far away, a phone will light up with a message that should have been sent yesterday. Somewhere else, a window will be open just a little wider than usual, in case the night needs extra air. And somewhere very specific, between two hearts that once beat in time and now learn to keep their own rhythms, a decision will unspool like thread from a spool that never seemed to end. We are here for it. We are here for you. We are Whispers of Turkish Stars, and we will walk this road to the last step, then wait at the corner for the next turn. The diary will arrive, the numbers will climb, the crowd will murmur, and the world will watch. Whether the pages stay hidden or become a public artifact, we will tell the story the only way we know how, softly, carefully, like placing a glass on a table already full of precious things. This is not just celebrity gossip, it's a human echo. It's the sound of letting go and the sound of not being ready to. It's the ordinary miracle of two names that once made a promise to the sky and now must make a promise to themselves. Hold steady with us. By the end of next weekend, this chapter will have a face and a price and a destiny. And when the lights come up and the gavel sleeps again, we will bring you every note, every flutter of a heartbeat, every shadow that finally agreed to step into the daylight. Until then, take care of your own letters, your own memories, your own small diary of moments. Remember that what we love never fully leaves us, it simply changes rooms. Thank you for being part of this story. Thank you for trusting our voice. Thank you for choosing to lean in and listen. Subscribe now, turn on those notifications, and, if you wish, become a member to stand even closer to the flame. This is Whispers of Turkish Stars, signing off for now, while Istanbul hums outside the window, and somewhere, a pair of eyes tries not to cry over the courage it takes to open one hand and loosen the grip of the other.